Welcome to the Global WarWatch Network. Today we're tackling a really complex, fast-moving situation in the Middle East. We've got a stack of recent reports, analyses, and our job is to help you make sense of these shifting power dynamics. We're talking Syria, the wider region. We
Exactly.
will look at who controls the skies, the new Syrian government struggles, and this recent flare-up in Soweto, which has everyone watching. It's more than just headlines, right? It's about the deeper roots.
Absolutely. We need to connect the history, decades of decisions to what's happening right now. The air situation, the pressures on Syria internally and externally. It's a critical moment. Understanding the layers is key.
Okay, let's start with the skies. Israel's aerial dominance. It seems incredible. Sources say this wasn't overnight, though.
No, definitely not. You really have to go back. Think about the 73 war.
The Yom Kippur War.
Right. Those Soviet SAM batteries Egypt had, they really challenged Israeli air power. That was a wake-up call. It pushed them hard to develop countermeasures, and that led to, well, a pivotal moment in '82, Operation Mole Cricket 19.
Molech Cricket 19. What happened there?
The Israeli Air Force just completely dismantled Syria's modern Soviet SAMs in Lebanon's Abika Valley, utterly pulverized them.
Wow.
And they shot down over 80 Syrian jets without losing a single one of their own. That set a huge precedent.
Then jump to 91, the Gulf War. Saddam's Scuds hitting Israel.
Yeah, and Washington was nervous, didn't want Israel retaliating, worried it would break the coalition.
So they limited Israel's options,
Severely, they wouldn't even share the IFF code's identification friend or foe.
meaning Israeli jets could get shot down by coalition forces.
Exactly, a massive risk. So the question was, how do you respond to Scud attacks under those conditions? The U.S. Patriots they sent, sources say they weren't very effective, and Israel's own Jericho missiles weren't fully operational yet.
So what did they do?
It ended up being more symbolic. A belated F-15 flyover October 91, kind of a signal of what they could have done, but after the fact.
Okay, let's jump way forward. December 2024. Assad's regime collapses. You called it a lightning offensive in the notes.
It was incredibly fast, and with Assad's military basically gone, Israel moved immediately
To do what?
to destroy Syria's remaining strategic assets, air defenses primarily.
And the result?
Within days, Syrian airspace was, well, more open to the Israeli Air Force than ever before.
Ever. Like, completely open.
Pilots are joking it's as busy as Highway 6. They can leisurely fly pretty much anywhere inside Syria they want. It's a fundamental shift.
And this freedom allowed them to do something even more unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
Going into Iran.
Yes, that's the next big step. Reports of Israeli jets freely entering Iranian airspace, bombing targets, assassinating high-value military personnel every day.
With little resistance.
Apparently very little. It's part of this ongoing operation Rising Lion, targeting Iran's government, its nuclear program. We're talking close-range bombings across Iran, things they wouldn't have risked even in Syria just a few years back.
And Iraq noticed this too.
Oh, yeah. The Iraqi Chargé d'Affaires at the UN reported 50 Israeli fighters crossing Iraqi airspace heading to Iran in June 2025. Over Basra, Najaf, Karbala.
50. That's a huge number.
It shows the scale, the confidence, and Syria, notably silent about all these flights over its territory.
Incredible shift in the skies. So how does this play out on the ground inside Syria itself? Assad's gone. There's a new transitional government, President Ahmed al-Shara. You'd hope for optimism, but sources suggest huge challenges.
Immense challenges. The U.S., through Special Envoy Tom Barrack, says their goals are clear.
Which are?
Eliminate ISIS, protect the new Syrian government from Iranian-backed militias. They've even lifted the old Assad-era sanctions. Trump signed an executive order in June 25, provided relief.
So U.S. support is there, but the internal security threats sounds like they're still very real. ISIS resurgence.
Definitely a major concern. And other Salafi jihadi groups, too. You see it in events like the Mar Elias church bombing in Damascus, June 22nd.
Terrible attack. Who claimed it?
An ISIS-affiliated group, Soraya Ansar al-Sunna, killed at least 26 Syrian Christians. The Syrian Interior Ministry linked the bomber directly to ISIS, said he recruited from the Al-Hol camp. These groups are ideologically close to ISIS, trying to destabilize things.
What about the other side of that coin? The Iranian-backed militias, did they just disappear after Assad fell?
Well, the picture we get is they're much weaker now, smaller, less effective since December 2024. They mostly sat out the Israel-Iran conflict, it seems, and Iran itself is dealing with its own recovery, so their ability to project power through these militias in Syria is pretty limited right now.
Meanwhile, the new Syrian government is trying to assert control, making arrests.
Yeah, the General Security Service, the GSS, has been active. Arrested at least 39 former regime figures, high-ranking militia officials.
Anyone significant?
Wasim al-Assad, Bashar's cousin. Known drug traffickers. These operations seem focused on Assadist Iranian proxies, trying to clean house and stop smuggling, especially on the Iraq border.
So, security challenges on one hand, consolidation of power on the other. What about building a new political system? Is it inclusive?
That's probably the biggest question mark. President Shara set up this committee for elections to a People's Assembly, 150 seats.
Sounds okay.
But he gets to appoint a third of them himself. One-third.
That doesn't sound very democratic.
And it's already causing friction. Public dissatisfaction in places like Dara, Raqqa, minority groups, the Druze, the Kurds, they feel left out. The seat allocation uses old 2010 census data, which many see as outdated and unfair.
So, minorities feel excluded.
Professor Fawaz Jeraz put it bluntly, minorities don't really have a stake, and Shara has monopolized more power. That concentration of power, it's a real worry for long-term stability.
But economically, there's been some better news.
Actually, yes, some surprisingly positive signs. The World Bank approved a grant, $146 million for energy, first time in over 40 years.
Wow, 4 decades.
And Syria completed its first SWIFT bank transaction with an Italian bank in 14 years. That's huge for reconnecting globally.
What about people's wallets?
They doubled military and public sector pay, increased the minimum wage significantly from about $25 to $75 a month, and they're exporting oil products, phosphates again, so some cautious steps towards recovery.
Okay, let's shift focus now to a specific flashpoint that brings a lot of this together. Soweto. Things got really intense there recently.
Yeah, Soweto is like a microcosm of all Syria's problems. Mid-July, fierce fighting breaks out.
Between who?
Druze fighters, local Sunni Bedouin tribes, and Syrian government forces. Seems it was triggered by kidnappings, attacks escalating, casualties were high, reports of over 250 killed.
And then Israel got involved directly. Airstrikes.
Big time. July 16th, they hit the Syrian Ministry of Defense HQ in Damascus, even areas near the presidential palace.
What reason did Israel give for such major strikes?
Publicly. Protecting the Druze minority in Syria, they see them as potential allies. Defense Minister Israel Katz was very blunt. Warnings in Damascus have ended now, painful blows will come. Vowed to keep hitting forces attacking the Druze in Soweto.
So, Israel paints itself as a protector. But is that the whole story? Analysts seem skeptical.
Yeah, many see broader motives. Alon Pinkas, former Israeli ambassador, called it pure opportunism.
Opportunism how?
He suggested it boosts Netanyahu's image as a wartime leader, maybe helps delay his corruption trial. Reinforces this idea, Pinkas called it a delusion, of reshaping the region by force. The strategic goal, according to Pinkas, a demilitarized zone south of Damascus, including Soweto.
A buffer zone again.
Essentially, keep a weak central government in Syria so Israel can, quote, do what it wants in its south.
What about the Druze in Syria themselves? How do they feel about being protected by Israeli airstrikes?
It's really complicated. Historically, the Syrian Druze community hasn't welcomed Israeli intervention. They've tried to stay neutral. But you have Israeli Druze citizens, many who serve in the IDF, feeling this strong connection, a blood covenant, they call it. They've been pushing the Israeli government hard to step in and protect their kin in Syria. And there's this influential Druze sheikh, Hikmat al-Hijri, who's reportedly been working closely with Israel. So it's not a monolithic view within the Druze community.
The fighting led to ceasefire attempts.
Multiple attempts. Syria's Interior Ministry announced one for Soweto, aiming to stop the fighting and integrate the region fully. And then separately, the U.S. envoy, Tom Barrack, announced a U.S.-brokered ceasefire between Israel and Syria on July 19th. Washington supported it, Turkey, Jordan, others apparently embraced it.
Which puts the new Syrian government in a really tough spot.
Exactly. Al Jazeera nailed the dilemma. Press the attack in Soweto, risk more Israeli bombs, withdraw, and look weak, unable to control your own country.
A classic catch-22.
Pretty much. President al-Shara said Syria prefers peace but isn't afraid of war. It shows just how precarious their position is.
So wrapping this all up, Israel's air power expanded dramatically even into Iran. Syria's new government, facing massive internal security threats, political inclusion issues, and now this Sawaida crisis with Israeli intervention. What does it all mean for stability?
Well, the big picture is Israel's regional dominance is undeniable now, especially in the air. It redraws the map, militarily speaking. At the same time, Syria's transitional government, even with U.S. backing and some economic relief, is walking a tightrope. They're fighting ISIS remnants, dealing with old regime loyalists, and crucially, struggling to build trust with minorities, Druze, Kurds, Alawites who feel shut out of power.
And Sueda just throws all those fragilities into sharp relief. External intervention layered on top of deep internal divides, it really makes you question if this new government can actually unify the country while facing these kinds of pressures.
Can it? When the leadership is seen, rightly or wrongly, by so many key groups as grabbing power, not sharing it. After more than a decade of brutal war, it seems like without real, broad, inclusive governance, Syria and maybe the wider region stays on very shaky ground, highly vulnerable to more conflict, more outside influence. It's an uncertain future, to say the least.
Thank you for joining us on the Global War Watch Network. If you found this discussion insightful, please do like, share, and subscribe to the Global War Watch Network. We'd also love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments section below. And join the conversation on social media. All the links you need are right there in the description.